Good morning, students. This is class 11, subject chemistry, chapter 3, classification of elements and periodicity in properties. This is lecture number 6. Topics of today's lecture are periodicity of valency or oxidation state, anomalous property of second period elements, periodic trends and chemical reactivity. So we will begin with periodicity of valency or oxidation state. The electrons which are present in the outermost shell of an atom are called valence electron, and these number determines the valency of an atom. For example, sodium atom. In sodium, there are total 11 electrons. But when we fill electrons in the orbitals, then one electron is present in the last orbital, 3s orbital. So valency of sodium is 1. Nowadays, we use oxidation state for the valency term. Now, valency of an atom is generally equal to either the number of valence electron or equal to 8 minus the number of valence electron for S and P block elements. Like for example, here in the picture, these are the group numbers. Group number 1, 2, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Okay, and number of valence electron in group number 1 is 1. In group number 2, the number of electrons are 2. In group number 13, the number of electrons, the number of valence electrons are 3. In 14th group 4, 15th 5, 16th 6 and so on. Okay, so what will be the valency? For group 1, the valency will be 1. For group 2, the valency will be 2. And for group 13, valency will be 3. And group 14, valency will be 4. But after 4, we will subtract it from 8. So valency of group number 15 is 5. Also 8 minus 5, and that is equal to 3. In the same way, in group number 16. Okay, so valency is 6, but 8 minus 6 is equal to 2. So here it is also 2. So here when we use sign, then this 6 is positive and this 2 is negative, minus 2. And here this 3 is minus 3. So whenever any 15th group element forms compound, then oxidation state shown by 15th group element, it will be minus 3 or plus 5. In the same way, minus 2 plus 6. And here in group number 17, 7 and 8 minus 1. Sorry, 8 minus 7, it is equal to 1. Okay. So either it will show oxidation state 7 or minus 1. Here 18th group 0 and 8, because 18th group elements are noble gases and they are non-reactive. That is why they don't form compounds easily, but there are some exceptions. Okay. Now next is variation along a period. So now we will study variation of valency along a period, or you can say oxidation state. So as we move across a period from left to right, the number of valence electron increases from 1 to 8. But the valency of the element with respect to hydrogen and oxygen first increases from 1 to 4 and then decreases to 0. Here you can see that the valency first increases from 1 to 4 and after that it decreases 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Now these trends observed in the valency of elements in hydrides and oxides. These days the term oxidation state is more frequently used for valency. Now we will study about hydrides and oxides. So these are the hydrides which are formed by these elements. Okay, so group 1 elements, lithium, when combines with hydrogen, it forms hydrides. And when any element combines with oxygen, then it forms oxides. Okay, so this is lithium hydride. Here valency shown by lithium is 1. Okay, in the same way sodium combines with hydrogen and forms sodium hydride. Potassium hydride. Okay, here calcium, the valency of calcium is 2. Okay, so when calcium combines with 2 atoms of hydrogen, it will form calcium hydride. Okay, here valency of calcium is 2. Now in the same way 13th group element boron forms B2H6 and this is aluminium AlH3. Okay, so these are hydrides. Carbon combines with 4 hydrogen atoms because oxidation state here of carbon is -4. Okay, now silicon combines with 4 atoms of hydrogen because valency, as you can see, this is 14th group and valency of 14th group element is 4. This is germanium, this is tin. Okay, so all the 14th group element combines with 4 atoms of hydrogen because they belongs to 14th group. Now, it increases, as you can see here, that this combines with 1 atom of hydrogen. This is 2 atoms of hydrogen. This and here you can see 3 atoms of hydrogen. This is a dimer. Okay, one molecule BH3 combines with another molecule BH3 and forms a dimer, B2H6. Here, 14th group element combines with 4 atoms of hydrogen. Okay, after that, number of hydrogen atom decreases. So here 3 atoms of hydrogen combines with 15th group element nitrogen, combines with 3 atoms of hydrogen and forms ammonia, NH3, okay, PH3, ASH3, SBH3. Next is 16th group element water, H2O. Okay, here 2 atoms of hydrogen combines with oxygen, and here again sulfur, selenium and tellurium. And then there are halogens. 17th group elements are known as halogens and they combine with 1 atom of hydrogen. Okay, if I ask you that out of these 2 atoms, which one is more electronegative, hydrogen or fluorine? Then fluorine is more electronegative and hydrogen is electropositive. So fluorine will show negative oxidation state and hydrogen will show positive oxidation state. In the same way for hydrogen chlorine also, fluorine is more electronegative. So it will show negative oxidation state, -1 and hydrogen +1. Okay, here also and in case of hydrogen iodide also. In the same way 16 group element, oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen. Okay, so here it will show -2 oxidation state and hydrogen will show +1 oxidation state. Here out of nitrogen and hydrogen, hydrogen is electropositive, nitrogen is more electronegative. Okay, so that is why here hydrogen will show +1 oxidation state and nitrogen will show -3 oxidation state. But if you will see group 1 elements, okay, when they form hydride, then group 1 elements are more electropositive than hydrogen. Okay, so in these two, lithium will show +1 oxidation state and hydrogen will show -1 oxidation state. Okay, when 2 atoms combines together to form a molecule, then one is more electronegative, another one is less electronegative. So here if we compare electronegativity, then you will observe that hydrogen is more electronegative, so it will show -1 oxidation state and lithium is electropositive in nature, so it will show +1 oxidation state. Now these are the oxides which are formed by these elements. Okay, when lithium combines with oxygen, then it will show Li2O, lithium oxide. Okay, so here oxygen is showing -2 oxidation state and lithium is showing +1 oxidation state. And calculation of oxidation state we will learn in chapter number 8, that is redox reaction. Okay, in the same way second group element when combines with oxygen, then they will form oxides and these are the oxides. Here oxidation state of magnesium is +2 and oxygen is -2. Okay, the most stable oxidation state of oxygen is -2. So you will observe that in these oxides, the oxidation state shown by oxygen is -2. Okay. Now next is variation within a group. So when we move down the group, the number of valence electron remains the same. Therefore, all the elements in a group exhibit the same valency. So here you can see that same number of electrons are present in the last shell. Okay, and that is 1. This is for group 1 element. As only 1 electron is present in the last orbital, okay, that is why the oxidation state shown by group number 1 is 1. Okay, in the same way +2 oxidation state is shown by group number 2 because 2 electrons are filled in the last shell. Okay, now these are the oxidation states which are shown by elements from 1 to 19. So here you can see the nitrogen, that hydrogen can show +1 as well as -1 oxidation state. But +1 oxidation state is more stable and -1 oxidation state of hydrogen is less stable. Next one is helium. So helium shows 0 oxidation state. Okay. Lithium 1, beryllium 2, boron -3 or +3, carbon +4 or +2, but +4 is more stable. Now next is nitrogen -3, -2, -1, +1, +2, +3, +4 and +5. So nitrogen can show variable oxidation state. Next is oxygen. So the most stable oxidation state, okay, here of oxygen is -2, fluorine -1, +1, okay, but -1 oxidation state is more stable of fluorine and +1 is very unstable. But there are some compounds, okay, like HOF, in which fluorine shows +1 oxidation state. Next one is neon, belongs to 18th group, shows 0 oxidation state because it is non-reactive. Next one, sodium +1 because it belongs to group number 1. Magnesium, it belongs to group number 2, so it will show +2 oxidation state. Next one is aluminium, it belongs to group number 13, so it will show +3 oxidation state. Next one is silicon, it belongs to group number 14. So -4 +2 +4. Phosphorus -3 +1 +3 +5. Okay, sulfur -2 +2 +4 +6. In the same way, chlorine -1 +1 +2 +3 +4 +5. Okay, it can show variable oxidation state because it can use its d orbitals. Next is argon. It shows 0 oxidation state. It belongs to 18th group, but there are some exceptions, okay, exceptional compounds. So here +7 is written. So next is potassium. It will show +1 oxidation state. So you should know oxidation state of these elements. Next one is anomalous property of second period elements. Okay, that means the different properties which are shown by second period elements like carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. So the first element of each of the group 1 and 2 and group number 13 to 17, that is boron to fluorine, differs in many respects from the other members of their respective groups. Okay, and how they differ from the other member of the groups? Some elements of the second period show similarity with the elements of the third period placed diagonally to each other, though belonging to different groups. So here you can see that these elements are present in period number 2 and these elements are present in period number 3. So here we will observe that properties of lithium is similar to the properties of magnesium. And there are some properties of lithium which are different from its group member, okay, from its group elements. In the same way here, beryllium will show similar properties with aluminium, which is placed diagonally. Boron will show similar properties with silicon, carbon with phosphorus. So as you can see that they show similar properties to the elements which are placed diagonally. So this is known as diagonal relationship. Okay. Now the main reason for the different chemical behavior of the first member of a particular group element in the S and P block compared to the other members of same group is due to. Okay, so here lithium is different from the other members of the element, of its group element. Now what is the reason behind it, that why lithium show different properties from the other group elements? So the reason is due to small size, high electronegativity and due to absence of the d orbital. Okay, there are no d orbitals present in these elements, that is why they show different properties, okay, or anomalous properties. Now next is periodic trends and chemical reactivity. So you will observe that in periodic table group number 1 group number 1 and group number 17. These elements are the most reactive, okay? And the elements which are present in between these two groups, their reactivity lies between these two groups element, okay? Now what is the reason behind it? Why these elements are more reactive? Okay, so you can give reason according to their electronic configuration, because when we write electronic configuration of group number 1, then you will observe that only one electron is present in the last shell. Okay, that only one electron is present, so it is easy to remove this electron. So if we provide energy, then they can easily lose one electron and they can convert into positive ion. Okay, H positive ion, lithium positive ion, sodium positive ion, potassium positive, okay, rubidium positive ion, cesium positive ion. Francium is radioactive in nature. So they can easily lose electrons, so that is why they are more reactive. But here reason is different. As you know that 17 group elements are halogens, okay, and halogens can accept one electron easily because in the last shell 7 electrons are present. So 17th group element will try to complete their octet, okay, and they will easily accept one electron. So that means they are more reactive, okay, because they can accept one electron easily, and these elements, group number 1 elements, they can lose one electron easily. That is why group number 1 and group number 17th element are more reactive. So here there is high chemical reactivity at the two extremes and lowest in the center. Thus, the chemical reactivity of alkali metals on the extreme left is due to their ability to lose an electron to form the corresponding cation. In contrast, the chemical reactivity of the halogens on the extreme right is due to their ability to gain an extra electron, leading to the formation of the corresponding anion. Now, oxides of the element present in extreme left are most basic. So here when sodium combines with oxygen, then it will form oxide, sodium oxide. Now what is the nature of this oxide? Is it basic, acidic or amphoteric? So the nature of the elements which are present in group number 1 or group number 2, okay, it is basic. In the same way, potassium oxide is also basic in nature. Now next is, these are the oxides of the elements which are present on the extreme right. So sulfur combines with oxygen and forms sulfur trioxide. So it is acidic in nature. In the same way, when chlorine forms oxide, it is also acidic in nature. Now, elements which are present in the center are either amphoteric or neutral. Amphoteric means which can show basic as well as acidic character. So the elements which are present in between the S block and P block elements, they are amphoteric or neutral in nature. Okay, so here we will take example of arsenic and aluminium. But you will observe that these elements are also present in P block. Okay, so we are talking about extreme right and extreme left. Okay, the elements which are present in between extreme right and extreme left elements. Now here is equation of aluminium oxide, that how it is showing amphoteric nature. So when oxides of aluminium combines with acid, then what will happen? It will act like a base. Okay, and when acid combines with base, then what will happen? Salt will form. So here AlCl3, aluminium trichloride will form plus water. So this is salt because here HCl is acid. So aluminium oxide, it will act as base. In second equation, NaOH, oxide of aluminium react with base, so it will act as acid. Okay, in the presence of water, it will form a complex. Okay, this is sodium aluminate. Now these are the oxides and their nature. Oxide of sodium is strongly basic in nature. Magnesium oxide is weakly basic. Oxide of aluminium is amphoteric in nature. In the same way, oxide of silicon is weakly acidic and oxide of phosphorus is moderately acidic. Okay, that means neither more acidic nor less acidic. Next is oxide of sulfur, strongly acidic, and oxide of chlorine is very strongly acidic. So that's all for today, students. Now your homework is that you have to complete all the questions of exercise of chapter 3 of NCERT book. Okay, in the next lecture we will discuss all the questions of NCERT exercise. Now we will discuss questions which were given in last lecture. So question number 9. What do you understand by the term ionic radius and atomic radius? So the atomic radius of a chemical element is a measure of the size of its atom, usually the mean or typical distance from the center of the nucleus to the boundary of the surrounding shells of electrons. Now, since the boundary is not well-defined physical entity, so there are various known equivalent definitions of atomic radius, and there are three widely used definitions of atomic radius, and these are van der Waals radius, ionic radius, and covalent radius. Now, next question is, explain why there is variation in atomic radius in a group and period. So, answer is that when we move left to right, then electrons are present in the same shell and nuclear charge increases. Okay, as the nuclear charge increases, force of attraction between nucleus and outermost electron increases. Okay, so that is why size decreases from left to right. But top to down size increases due to addition of a new shell. Okay. Next is, explain what is isoelectronic species. Give names of the species which will be isoelectronic species with each ion or atom given below. So here there is argon. Isoelectronic species are those species which have equal number of electrons. So here argon atomic number is 18 and 18 electrons are present. Okay. So here these are the species which are isoelectronic with argon S2 negative, Cl negative, K positive. Okay, if you will calculate number of electrons, then it will be equal to 18 because sulfur atomic number is 16 and 2 negative charge. Okay, so you will add 2 electrons. Here in chlorine you will add 1 electron because there is -1 charge, and here you will subtract 1 electron because there is +1 charge. So atomic number is equal to number of electrons and protons. So here this is number of electrons minus here charge, positive charge. Next is rubidium. Okay, so in rubidium positive there are total 36 electrons. Here you will observe the atomic number of rubidium is 37. So number of electrons are 37 minus 1 because charge is +1, so 36. Now we will find those species which have 36 electrons. So Br negative, okay, 35 plus 1 is equal to 36. Krypton also have 36 electron and strontium 2 positive also have 36 electron. Next one, F negative ion, F negative ion, fluoride ion, 9 plus 1, total 10 electrons are present. So what are those species which are isoelectronic with it? So first is sodium positive ion, neon, aluminium 3 positive. Next one, magnesium 2 positive, so 11 electron. 12 minus 1, 11 electrons. So isoelectronic species are aluminium 3 positive, sodium and silicon 3 positive. Next question, consider the accompanying species N3 negative, O2 negative, F negative, Na positive, magnesium 2 positive and Al3 positive. What is similar in them? Arrange them in according to their increasing order of ionic radii. So if you will find out number of electrons in these species, then you will find out total number of electrons are 10 in all of it. Okay, so that means they are isoelectronic in nature. Now we will arrange them. So first you will arrange all these species according to their nuclear charge. Okay, that nuclear charge means total charge of nucleus, total positive charge. If total positive charge will be more, that means the attraction between nucleus and outermost electron will be more. Okay, and size will be less. So here you will observe that there is +3 charge. on aluminium. So that means here number of electrons are less and number of protons are more. So that means force of attraction will be more. So that means nuclear charge is more. So here we will arrange these species according to nuclear charge. A negatively charged ion has less force of attraction between nucleus and outermost electron. Why? Because here there are extra electrons, 3 extra electrons, and number of protons are same. So what will happen? There will be less force of attraction, that means less nuclear charge. So if there is less nuclear charge, that means atomic radii will be more. So this is the order. This is the increasing order of ionic radii. Next question is cation are having smaller radii than that of their parent atom, and anion are having larger radii than their parent atom. This question is already discussed in the lecture video that cations are formed by expelling an electron from outermost orbit of an atom. Okay, so cation has less electrons as compared to parent atom. So that means the nucleus can easily hold outermost electron. So size decreases. But in case of anion, there are extra electrons. Okay, so when in the presence of extra electrons, the force of attraction between nucleus and outermost electron becomes less, so size increases. Next question, question number 14, states significance of the following terms: isolated gaseous atom, ground state in the definition of ionization enthalpy and electron gain enthalpy. So ionization enthalpy is the energy that is required to expel or remove an electron from an isolated gaseous atom in ground state. Despite the fact that in gaseous state, the atoms are generally widely separated, there are a few measures of attractive forces between the atoms. Okay, so to find the ionization enthalpy of any ion, it is difficult to isolate a solitary atom. This attractive force can be further diminished or removed by bringing down the pressure. Hence, the term isolated gaseous atom is utilized as a part of the meaning of ionization enthalpy. Now, an atom's ground state is the most stable state. Less energy is required to expel or remove an electron if isolated gaseous atom is present in the ground state. So in this way, for the purpose of comparison, electron gain enthalpy and ionization enthalpy must be calculated for an isolated gaseous atom and its ground state. Next question is question number 15. Determine ionization enthalpy of hydrogen atom in joule per mole. An electron of hydrogen is having minus 2.18 into 10 to the power minus 18 in ground state. Okay, so this is the energy which is electron of hydrogen have. Now, this is the energy in ground state. So, when we remove one electron from hydrogen atom, then it will go to infinity. Okay, we will assume that it is infinity. So, E infinity, energy at infinity is equal to 0. Okay, so here E infinity minus its energy in the ground state. Okay, so 0 minus, and this is the energy in its ground state, so it will become positive. Now, ionization enthalpy per mole of hydrogen atom. So here we will multiply this energy with 1 mole of atom, 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. Now we have to convert this into kilojoule. So you have to divide it by 1000 because this is in joule. So if you will divide it by 1000, then it will convert into kilojoule. So answer is 1312.36 kilojoule per mole. Next question, how would you explain the fact that first ionization enthalpy of sodium is lower than that of magnesium, but its second ionization enthalpy is higher than that of magnesium? So first ionization enthalpy of magnesium is higher than that of first ionization enthalpy of sodium atom. Because if you will see the electronic configuration of magnesium, then 2 electrons are present in s orbital, fully filled. Okay, fully filled is more stable, so it is difficult to remove it. So more energy is required. On the other hand, in sodium, if you will write electronic configuration, so write down electronic configuration of sodium atom. only one electron is present in the last shell. So that means in the last orbital, so that means it is easy to remove it, so less energy is required. But when we remove second electron, then you will observe that in magnesium only one electron is present now. In magnesium positive, one electron is present, so we can easily remove it. But in sodium, now 6 electrons are present in p orbital. So it is stable, p orbitals are fully filled, so more energy is required. You will do this question by yourself by writing the electronic configuration. Okay. Now question number 18. State the factors because of which in elements of main group the ionization enthalpy decreases when we move down the group. The factor because of which in elements of main group the ionization enthalpy decreases when we move down the group are given below. So first is increase in the shielding effect. Inner shells increases as we move down the group. Thus, the shielding effect of valence electron increases by inner core electrons from nucleus. Thus, the attractive force on electron toward nucleus is very strong. So, energy required to remove a valence electron decreases as we move down the group. Inner shells increases as we move down the group. Thus, the atomic size increases as we move down the group. Also, the distance between the valence electron and nucleus of an atom. As a result, the electrons are not strongly bounded, so valence electrons can be expelled easily. Thus, energy required to expel a valence electron decreases as we move down the group. Next question, find out which of the pair given below will have high negative electron affinity, fluorine or chlorine, oxygen or fluorine. Electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. Okay, so out of fluorine and chlorine, when we go top to down, then electron gain enthalpy decreases. But here, in fluorine and chlorine, there is an exception. Okay, chlorine will have more negative energy as compared to fluorine, because due to small size of fluorine, when we add one electron, then there will be electron-electron repulsion, due to which less amount of energy will release. That is why electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy is less negative in case of fluorine. In case of oxygen and fluorine, you will observe that when we go left to right in period, so this is 16th, this is the element whose atomic number is 16, and this is the element whose atomic number is 17. So when we go left to right, then size decreases and electron gain enthalpy increases. Okay, so fluorine will have more electron gain enthalpy according to normal rule, and that rule is when size decreases, nuclear charge increases, force of attraction between nucleus and outermost electron increases. So fluorine can easily add one electron as compared to the oxygen. Remember, here we are comparing fluorine with oxygen. So when we compare fluorine with oxygen, then it will easily accept one electron. But when we compare fluorine with chlorine, then chlorine will accept electron easily. Okay, that is why answer is different in these two parts. Okay, here answer is that chlorine will easily accept electron, so energy will be more negative. And here fluorine will accept electron easily as compared to oxygen, so it will have more negative energy. So that's all for today, students. If you have any doubt or queries, you can ask me on my email ID. After this, we will discuss questions of NCERT exercise, and then assignment will be given to you, and after that we will take test of this chapter. So prepare the chapter, read the chapter sincerely. Thank you and have a nice day.